Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Coffee Time with Phlinger. Coffee time. All right. So, hey, today we're going to be talking about a bunch of the news that's coming out in ARC. We're just doing this right after the Fear Evolved 4 event came out. We're not going to be talking about that. I've already got a whole bunch of plans for doing things in Fear Evolved, stuff like that. Right now we're going to be talking about up here in the top left-hand corner where it says the TLC update number 3. Not the Extra Life event. Those are always really cool, but we're not going to be discussing that too much today. It's just the TLC update, which is coming on. It's scheduled right now for November 7th, I believe, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that's planned for it. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, tea if that's what you prefer, milkshake, protein drink, just a glass of water, anything that you prefer. All right, because I'm gonna be sipping coffee while we're doing this, and I will talk to you guys. Yeah, let's just start talking about some of the news here. All right, so some of the first things that we're gonna be discussing right now are the new things that you can breed. Now, these are things that traditionally in the past have been unbreedable, like the Araneo, well, actually, we'll get into each individual dossier as we're going, but right here, this screenshot that they posted on their update, this right here, it kind of sums everything up. It gives you a screenshot of all the different things that you're going to be able to breed that you weren't able to breed before. All right, so we're going to have the spider, which is going to have an egg hatch time of, these are for official servers, mind you. If you're playing on in solo play where you change the breeding times, or if you're on a server that changes the breeding times, then these are not going to apply to you. They're just going to basically fit inside that mathematical formula that runs inside of all those. But yeah, if you're playing on official, the egg hatch timers and maturation timers, these will apply to you. So they're going with the spider. They called the Araneo the spider, which makes sense because that's effectively what it is. But yeah, it's going to have an egg hatch timer of 1 hour 25 minutes, which is going to match the Packy. And then also the total maturation time is going to be 1 day, 1 hour, and 1 minute. It's kind of kooky. All right, and then we're going to have the bat, which of course has a total gestation timer of 3 hours, 58 minutes, matches the Procoptodon, and then maturation time for that is going to be 1 day, 4 hours, 3 minutes, which matches the Kairuku. All right, the moth is going to have a egg hatch timer of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and then total maturation time of 1 day, 6 hours, and 51 minutes. Scorpion, which is really, really cool that they're doing the Scorpion. I've always thought that you should have been able to breed Scorpions before, but that was never a thing. Now it totally is, which is kind of cool. Now, I honestly think that early game Scorpions might actually take a bit of a bump on this one. They're going to have an egg hatch timer of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and a total maturation time of 1 day, 13 hours, and 12 minutes. And then the Arthropleura have always been like this problem child. You want to like them, but they suck. Once you're able to breed them, that might change. I'm thinking that it probably could. All right, well, they're going to have an egg hatch timer of 2 hours, 29 minutes, and a total maturation time of 2 days, 3 hours, and 26 minutes. Not bad. All right, and then the best one that you can now, actually not the best, one of the best, all right, one of the top two, all right, this is the number 2 of the top 1, all right, is the mantis. You can now breed the mantis. Yeah, you can take those mantises that you've been grabbing, you've been taming, and you've been using them with just their wild tame stats and using them to go harvest things. But now you're going to be able to breed them, which is going to be... Mantis, I think, have just got bumped up to the number 1 gatherer. If they weren't already before, they just got bumped up to the number 1 gatherer. Mantises, after this new TLC patch, are going to absolutely rock. Oh my gosh. All right, so also the next breeding thing that you can breed is going to be wyverns. Yes, but also there's a caveat that goes with that, with the breedable wyverns, is because they're getting nerfed a little bit. They're getting more in line with the crystal wyverns, so where they actually do have a more breed-friendly stat allocation. Because when, if you notice that the crystal wyverns the stats on the crystal wyverns and the stats on the regular egg hatched wyverns on Scorched Earth, their stats are different. They are. It's not wild or anything like that, but there is a difference. Now I fully understand why they are nerfing the wyverns a little bit, but they're not really nerfing it. They're just bringing it in line because they're getting ready for these wyvern stats to just explode as people start just mass breeding everything, because that's what's going to happen. Everybody knows it. All right, you know it. Don't look at me like that. You know it. You know that's what you're going to do, right? Don't even pretend you're not, because breedable wyverns, hello, wyverns. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is a few of the different little life changes and stuff like that they're making to some of these dinos. Now, granted, some of these are really only going to apply to public servers, but some of them are going to apply to just all dinos everywhere on whichever map, solo, anything that you play on. But first off is going to be the Giga. Yeah, they are taking that and they're reducing the maturation time, which is kind of cool, actually. Yeah, they're actually being brought down by 15%, which is quite a bit when it comes to a Giga. Their total growth is around 10 days now, which is pretty dang big. Now, and also the Diplocaulus, yeah, those little dudes that nobody plays with, I think they actually might get a little bit more playtime because their base health is now getting brought to, they're getting bumped by 33%. From the raw stats, it's going to be a base of 190 to a base of 250.3. So they're getting quite a bit of a big jump in health, which is going to make using them actually pretty cool. Also, they increased the speed at which they go when they're ridden. So now they're going to be just these little underwater just zoomers. Oh my gosh. I look forward to playing around with these guys after the patch, because having a Diplocaulus as a tame, I mean, if you can actually take these guys and get them just completely bumped up in movement speed and a little bit of health and some oxygen, oh man, that could be fun. Do Diplocaulus races around the map. That sounds interesting. All right, now next is probably one of my favorite changes out of the entire patch, which is Thylacoleo. Thylacoleo are getting a bleed attack to their base attack, just their left click attack, which makes them from awesome to absolutely wicked cool. Oh my gosh. Thylacolous were already one of my favorite things, and now they just got better. But also, it's gonna mean that when you get pounced by these guys, it's gonna suck extra hard. Yeah. All right, now the next one we're gonna be talking about is the Megachelon. Or Megachelon, which they reduced their depth requirement for breeding so that you can actually breed them on other maps, which is kind of cool. That's kind of what these guys needed. So where you can go to Genesis, you can have your fun, you can tame your turtle, and then you can bring it over to other maps and you can breed them and you can build bases on them, you can share the love, you can do all sorts of cool things with them, and it's gonna be great. All right, next one is the Megalodon. The Megalodon, they have their gestation reduced aging times to match the Megalosaurus. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I could look it up, but I'm not really gonna take the time because the less I have to associate Megalodons with the horny dudes in the woods, the better. All right, so they had their gestation reduced. Also, they're getting a pack bonus, which is kind of cool, which means Megalodons, they're no longer going to be one of the early tames that you just get so where you can go get something bigger. You can now get wolf packs of these guys and then take them out into the wild and beat the living crap out of other things with your pack bonus. So they get the reduction of damage that they take, plus also the damage increased per pack member within range, which is wicked cool. Also, like the Thylacoleo, they're also getting a bleed attack to its basic attack, to its left click attack, which means that the Megalodon just got pumped. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just got wicked pumped. All right, so also moving on to the next one is the Jerboa. They increased their base weight capacity by quite a bit, more than double actually, from 55 to 120. And they brought it more in line with the Bulldog, which means that you can actually start throwing more stuff on the Jerboa, and that's always what kind of sucked about Jerboa, is because you tame them at level 1, and they're level 1, and then, you know, when by the time you get up to like a level 45 one, you're so attached to this one, you don't want it to die, but you've never pumped anything in weight on that guy. Come on, face it. You know I'm right. Right? How many times have you actually pumped weight on a Jerboa? Now I don't think you're going to need to, which is kind of cool. All right, moving on to the next one is Anki. Ankies have their metal weight reduction reduced further from 75 to 85%. So now these guys are, I think they're doing this so that people will feel more inclined to use them instead of going to their new trusted best gatherer, which is gonna be the Mantis. Face it, the Mantis is going to be the best gatherer, but they're also buffing the Anki so where you don't forget about said Anki. So where you're still gonna go out and want to go harvest your metal with your Anki instead of your Mantis that has been bred for 5,000 weight. Y'all know that's what's gonna happen, right? Okay, and then moving on, now we've got the Doedicurus, which can now turn when rolling with a Doed. Similar to the Genesis race mission, which is kind of what they needed, because before, if you started rolling on one of those Doedicuruses, you were going in a straight line whether you liked it or not. Now you can actually turn, which is pretty cool. And last but not least on this list is going to be the Basilisk. They gave mice. Can you believe it? The Basilisk, they've been sightless this entire time, and nobody knew. I know, right? Those poor Basilisks. Right? Quick, give them a cup of coffee. They've earned it. All right, the next thing we're going to be discussing is the new addition to the heads-up display, the HUD, which is going to be a interactive taming monitor for your unconscious and wild tameable or taming creatures. So you can track the following, which is, and it appears in this little icon that you're seeing above the trike. Yeah, I know, that's actually kind of cool. So if you, no more having to place a torch next to something that's way out in the woods so you can leave it just for a couple seconds and come back to it and find it. It's actually gonna have this icon above its head that you can see. I know, right? Right, that actually seems really, really wicked cool. So many torches just ruined because I had to find something that was just in the weeds. And yeah, all right. So now they've got this. Now, not only are you going to be able to see the creature's gender and level, you're going to be able to see the taming and unconscious progress, the taming effectiveness, the current health and food status, which is wicked important, distance from your location, and an option to track the specific creatures via in-world waypoints, which is a lot like the Genesis missions when you queue them up, and then it'll just kind of, tell you, an image will pop up and say, hey, you're this many meters from this target, which, hello, Genesis, thank you. All right, I'm glad that they're using the tech that they put on some of the expansions and then putting it into the entire base game. I love that idea. I love that they're doing that. All right, the next thing we're going to be discussing is the TLC for the Mammoth TLC, because I haven't covered it yet, and this is something that I've been wanting to cover, but I wanted to make sure that we had all the information for the TLC before I just put out a video, because I don't want to put out 1,000 different videos about each individual piece of news as it comes. I want to cover all of it at once, so where you guys have like a one-stop shop to come back and see exactly everything that is getting changed. All right, so the War Mammoth is getting a TLC. It's one of the dinos that's being completely reworked from the ground up. Unlike all the other ones before, they get minor tweaks and balances and buffs and nerfs and stuff like that. This one right here is kind of like a reimagining, which is wicked, wicked cool. I love it when they do the direct TLCs on each individual dino. All right, so the Mammoth is getting new abilities. First one that it's getting a new saddle and a buff that goes along with it. So it's getting a War Drum saddle, which is one additional passenger seat on a saddle that comes equipped with a War Drum that must be played to maintain an AoE that improves stamina regen and makes them immune to fear. Now, one of my big questions on this is when somebody is playing those drums, is it going to have a AoE fear reduction effect? If it does, that's going to be pretty dang huge. All right, especially in a PvP type scenario. which is absolutely wicked, wicked cool. I love the idea that you're going to have mammoth riders in your army, you know, and have somebody playing those wardrobes. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's really, really cool. All right, so also they're going to be getting some new attacks. First is going to be a tusk sweep attack, which sweeps tusks left and right to gather and harvest thatch, which is kind of cool. Instead of just, you know, every attack that they do harvest just a whole bunch of wood, they can also, you know, just shred the trees and get all the thatch. That's pretty cool. I like that. All right, the next ability is called a Trunk Trumpet, which emits a trunk roar that does an AoE debuff to all enemies within range. That's kind of cool. Now, I wonder what this debuff is going to do. Is it going to be damage reduction? Is it going to be the amount of damage they do? I'm not sure yet. It doesn't say, but I can only speculate. But whatever debuff it is, I hope it's both of those combined. That would be wicked cool. That would put the Mammoth in a whole new class as something that you need in your boss fighting army, much like a Uteranus. Yeah, and also hopefully they turn it on so where you can auto-fire that sucker like the Uteranus. That would be wicked cool. All right, the next ability is going to be the Foot Stomp, which Mammoth rears up and then puts all of its weight into a forward slam with its front legs to directionally knock back enemies and gather wood. I like that. That's pretty dang cool. So where you get just the kind of knockback like a trike kind of thing. That's pretty cool. Which means that mammoths, yeah, they're gonna have a lot more utility than they used to have. Very, very cool. All right, and the last one is probably the one that intrigues me the most. So they are actually getting what's called the Trunk Grab, which is much like Karkanos' Grab, the crab. But a crab can grab one in each claw. This, I'm assuming, is going to be just one that you can grab via the trunk. And then you're able to grab it, hold, and release smaller targets. Which is kind of cool. So you can actually just go pick things up with your mammoth and then put them where you want them, or just hold on to them and then knock them out and tame them. That's really, really cool. Combine one of these guys, an early game mammoth, well, say 55-ish mammoth, with a Ichthyosaurus on your shoulder, and you got your taming buddy. Yeah, Equus just got a little bit of actually a lot of competition, a pretty strong competition for taming. Wow, all right, that's really, really cool. The possibilities on that are great. All right, this next one I want to talk about is the Stego. Not only is it getting visual upgrades, which from this picture just look absolutely amazing. I love the fact that you now have multiple colors that interweave on the back plates. That looks wicked cool. Also, the fact that they're actually making a little bit more high def of a image on these guys, because face it, they were kind of lacking. But, you know, it's never one of those things I want to call attention to while I'm recording. But, yeah, these guys definitely needed some TLC. I'm glad that they're getting it. All right, so, but they're getting a couple new abilities to go along with those looks. Yeah, I know, right? All right, so they're getting one different buff that you can cycle between the different three It's kind of like, you know, in other MMOs where they have, like, the different stances that you can cycle through. Well, this one is, you're getting three different ones. You're getting hardened plate, you're getting heavy plate, and you're getting a sharpened plate, which is pretty dang cool. All right, so the hardened plate stance is basically going to be it applies a damage reduction buff and prevents players from being dismounted by enemies. And also, this is the one that you're going to use to gather wood. I know, that's pretty cool, right? Yeah, not only, I mean, they're not just for gathering, you know, a bunch of berries and a little bit of thatch. Now they're actually dedicated wood gatherers, which is kind of cool. But also, I'm wondering if they're getting any kind of weight reduction, which I'm not sure. I mean, they haven't mentioned anything, but it would make sense to have some, at least on berry gathering, you know, berry weight reduction. That'd be kind of cool, because these guys, face it, are one of the best berry gatherers. I mean, there's others that are better, but these guys are pretty dang good, especially at the early game. All right, so that's the damage reduction on the hardened plate. Also, you won't get dismounted while you got these guys on. All right, and then the next stance is going to be the heavy plate mode, which applies a slow when attacking with the basic tail whip. So, and also it's going to be used for gathering thatch instead of wood. So, yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot like the Mesopithecus poop throw. Yeah, so it's going to basically snare them, which is kind of cool. And yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, I dig it. I dig it. I mean, now it's going to be, if you're riding one of these guys, you don't always have to have a Mesopithecus on your shoulder or an otter for the, for the cold reduction, but cold reduction doesn't have anything to do with it. But I usually put a Mesopithecus so where when I'm riding dinos like this, so where I can kind of control the flow of combat. So where the Phoo that's on my shoulder will be throwing poop, and while I'm dealing damage and then kind of backing away a little bit so I can hit them, they can't hit me, but they're going to be charging towards me anyway. That's the kind of tactic. Now the Stego can do all that. All that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then the last stance is the sharpen plate mode, which applies an armor penetration effect when stacking with the tail whip, also useful for harvesting berries, which that's kind of wicked cool. I mean, imagine somebody comes at you with some of that flak armor and you just shred them. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. All right, now I wonder if there's going to be a sound effect that they play in between each one of these, because this is one hell of an opportunity for them to add some sort of like chink kind of, sound effect for when you equip that sharpen plate mode. Oh, that would be really, really cool. It'd be completely, not necessary in the game, but it would just make it be like, yeah, I'm riding a badass Stego. Watch out. All right, come on, that would be cool. All right, now the last one doesn't have anything to do with these stances, but it's an impaling tail whip. So it's the ability to impale and immobilize players and smaller creatures, which is kind of cool. I like the idea that you can just impale things on your spikes now. And I wonder if you can, once it's impaled, you can just like smack it against the ground or something, or just wave them around and they'll still just take a whole bunch of damage. Sounds pretty cool. All right, so that's pretty much gonna do it for the coffee time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, my coffee's just about empty, but now we just have to wait for the new patch to launch on November 7th. It might get pushed back. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. Yeah, I hope you guys are too. If you have any things you want to add to the coffee time, to the conversation, make sure you post them in the comments down below. I really appreciate that. All right, if you're new around here, subscribe. And if you haven't already, make sure you click that like button, right? Really helps me out. All right, so yeah, until next time, this is Phlinger Phoo, and take it easy, everybody.